So maybe if you could initially just tell me what you can remember of your time just before coming into intensive, the preceding days before intensive care.
Well, I remember being really fit and healthy. I was out the day before I came to hospital doing fitness, CrossFit. I ran in the morning before I was admitted to hospital, and then I just suddenly took not well.
So what can you remember then about your time, if anything, in intensive care?
I'm very confused as to the time scale or what times and order things happened in, but I just remember being very unsure what had happened to myself, a bit frightened. When I started to come to, I suppose, when I just felt time was standing still and I just wanted to move on, and I know I really didn't like night time. I just wanted the lights to come back on, and that's my main memory of totally. I think that's why I wanted time to move on, to get the lights to come back on. And I saw a clock on the wall which still sticks with me. I had a visit back to see it. And I just felt the second hands kept going round and round, but the minutes and hours never moved. And I thought I was never going to move on.
Okay.
So that's one memory. And I've got a nice memory in that when I came to InSPIRE, I heard this voice and it just clicked like that. I knew immediately it was the nurse that had been there. Just a little phrases that she said, "Come on, lovey." And that made me feel really good, having a friendly voice there too. I thought I was in a big act when I was in intensive care. I felt the nurses were all actors, and then when my family came in and they just didn't look quite like themselves, and I thought, I just kept trying to work out if it was them or not, which sounds really silly to me, but when I've thought about it afterwards, I wondered if that's just because they were under so much strain. When I hear what they'd been through, they probably weren't quite looking themselves, and then with my head being not just where it should be, it all made a silly picture.
And what about some of the dreams, some of that you experienced? Can you tell us some of those?
I don't know that I felt like I experienced dreams, because I felt like I never went to sleep. I couldn't sleep. I felt I was in here for a month or whatever and never slept. I just couldn't relax. And although saying I didn't dream, I did at one point think we'd all been moved to Paris. These silly things, but that was when I felt I was awake. I thought we'd all been taken to Paris because it was near Christmas. And again at night, well, once I was out of intensive care, at nights I seemed to be in a different place always at night, when it was dark to when it was light. I think I was a bit frightened when I eventually saw down and saw all these tubes and everything. I just had no idea what had happened to me.
Or how did you feel out in the ward?
That's the first time I really remember experiencing great pain when they moved me onto the trolley to go. But I just was so desperate to get out. I couldn't wait to get up the stairs. And up in the high dependency unit, they were absolutely brilliant. I think probably because I was more able to speak and understand what was going on then. But I was still very frightened because I couldn't move, I couldn't do anything for myself, which, from as far as I was concerned, one day being fit and being able to look after myself, to suddenly realising I couldn't brush my teeth, I couldn't do anything. I was just lying there. It's a very scary time. I did find that sometimes I didn't know what I was meant to be doing. And what I was meant to be trying to eat was one thing. And because I was told to take these drinks, but then the dietitian said no, I should be eating, and I didn't quite know where to go, which I did find quite difficult. especially when I really didn't want to eat anything at all.
When you got home, what were the highs and lows that you experienced whenever you got home?
It was a big high. I don't know if there was a low to going home. I just really loved it, just getting home, to sit in my own house and do things when I felt like doing it, although I was governed by the clock with drugs and again trying to make myself eat. But each day I could make little targets and I could go out and walk and do a bit more. And it was nice, but there were scary bits, and when things on my health weren't quite going according to plan. It's a bit frightening when you're that bit further away from medical staff. And I mean, part of the whole recovery I found is being able to laugh. That makes such a difference. And that was great when I was here. I mean, the staff, I think they can judge quite well when you're in the mood for it, but you could have some good laughs with them, and that really makes your mood feel so much better.
What were the kind of lingering effects of your overall illness being in intensive care? Physical and psychological, what were those lingering effects that persisted?
There was always your mind, you start going back, trying to play through what happened and remembering things, and that's when I realised I'm a bit confused on the time scale that things happened, what came first, and some of the bits I'm not sure if it's my memory or what I've been told by my family and people in the hospital. I do find, I'm now thinking about it, my memory maybe is not as good as it was, but maybe I put that down to old age as well. Well, not old age, but I'm getting a day older every day. I went straight back to work whenever I went, because we've got our own company. And it does worry me now that I was doing things that maybe my mind wasn't prepared for doing, but I just knew I had to get on and get them things done. But now I can't really remember that. I'm always asking, did I do this, did I do that? So it was very good when you came to InSPIRE and you got everything explained to you, that there was this syndrome, the effects of all the drugs that we'd been given, that things could happen, and going into the psychology of it and everything else. It was good to know, and when you heard other people's experiences, you thought, oh, it wasn't me just being silly. Everybody was having these hallucinations, silly dreams, silly thoughts. I found it very, very good to the day we sat and went through and gave us a A4 sheet of paper with exactly what happened in intensive care. I would sell it in that there's a lot of help out there. Everybody is different. We've all got different things that we need help with and things that we're okay with. But I do believe that coming to InSPIRE, it's really opened up. There's all social work, housing, benefits, everything else. And if you want to try and take away as much worry as you can from yourself, as far as I can see, for getting better. And I think InSPIRE, if you come along to these, it just lets you see what all is there for you and can really help everybody in their own separate ways to get on. It's good to chat to people that have been in the same situation as you and find out how everybody's been getting on and what they've done and what targets they've set. Well, the physiotherapy, as I say, is great, because I've always had the adage that the healthy body, healthy mind, whatever, that's the way you want to be. And they give you good steps along the way to making sure you get back to that.